In the heart of the American frontier, a legend began to take shape. Billy the Kid, a boy barely into his teens, would become synonymous with lawlessness and rebellion. His name echoed through dusty towns, where whispers of his exploits stirred both fear and admiration. As smoke filled the saloons and wanted posters adorned wooden posts, the question lingered: how did a mere boy transform into a figure of myth and chaos? Billy, with his light brown hair tousled under a slouch hat and a mischievous smile revealing slightly crooked teeth, was not just a criminal. He was a symbol of youth caught in a world devoid of structure. The chaos of the Wild West shaped him, and his boyish features belied the hardened life he was already living. Each encounter with the law only added to the myth surrounding him. The frontier was unforgiving, and the stories of Billy's daring escapes and gunfights spread like wildfire. Newspaper articles exaggerated his feats, painting him as a ruthless outlaw. Yet behind the tales of violence lay a boy struggling to navigate a chaotic world. The line between truth and legend began to blur, as each retelling added layers to his already complex identity. In a land where survival often meant bending the rules, Billy's quick reflexes and sharp wit became his greatest assets. He was not merely a boy with a gun. He was a survivor, adapting to the harsh realities of life on the frontier. The thrill of the chase and the adrenaline of gunfights fueled his transformation from a mere boy to a figure of fascination. As Billy's reputation grew, so did the tension between him and the law. Sheriffs and deputies began to take notice, their faces etched with determination as they hunted for the elusive outlaw. Yet in the eyes of many locals, he was a hero, a symbol of rebellion against oppressive authority. The duality of his existence became a captivating narrative that drew people in. Billy's life was a series of fleeting moments, each one shaping the legend that would follow him. Gunfights erupted in the streets, and the sound of gunfire echoed through the canyons. Each encounter with the law was a dance of fate, where the stakes were life and death. The chaos of the Wild West was the backdrop for a story that was just beginning to unfold. With each passing day, Billy the Kid became more than just a name. He was a myth in the making. His youthful bravado and undeniable charm captivated the hearts of many, while his reckless choices pushed him further into the shadows of the law. The question remained: could a boy so young truly navigate the treacherous waters of the outlaw life? As the sun set on the horizon, casting long shadows across the land, Billy's journey was just beginning. The frontier was alive with possibility, but it was also fraught with danger. The allure of freedom and the weight of his growing legend would soon collide, setting the stage for a story that would captivate generations. What was it that transformed a mere boy into a figure of myth? As the tales of Billy the Kid spread, the lines between reality and fiction began to blur. The Wild West was a stage for his story, but the question lingered: how would this young outlaw's journey unfold in a world where legends are born from gunfire and grit? Billy, now 14, wanders the dusty streets of Silver City, New Mexico, a boy with light brown hair peeking from under a slouch hat. Orphaned and alone, he scavenges for food and odd jobs, his youthful face marked by freckles and a mischievous smile, hinting at resilience amidst hardship. His charm and quick wit earn him fleeting friendships, but the frontier is harsh. Billy's boyish laughter echoes in the air, yet it masks the desperation of a young man forced to adapt quickly to survive in a world that offers little mercy. Despite his likable demeanor, a petty arrest for stealing food brands him as a criminal. The sheriff, a grizzled man with a stern face, looks down at Billy, who stands defiantly, his light blue eyes flashing with anger and fear, marking the beginning of his troubled path. Billy's first taste of confinement ignites a fire within him. With a clever plan, he escapes, slipping through the bars like a shadow. This moment sets a pattern, a boy learning to evade the very laws meant to protect him, his youthful features hardened by the experience. As he roams the frontier, Billy encounters drifters and rustlers, absorbing their ways. He learns to handle a revolver, his fingers nimble and quick, transforming from a boy into a young man shaped by the violent world around him. The streets of Lincoln become a testing ground for his newfound abilities. Billy's reputation grows, whispered among the townsfolk, who see him as both a charming youth and a potential threat. his boyish smile hiding a burgeoning darkness. Yet, the life of an outlaw is fraught with danger. As Billy navigates this treacherous world, he grapples with loss and betrayal, his youthful innocence slowly eroding. Each encounter leaves its mark, deepening the lines of experience on his boyish face. The frontier's unforgiving nature forces Billy to confront his identity. He begins to embrace the outlaw persona, a transformation reflected in his clothing, a worn Mexican-style jacket draped over his loose shirt, signaling his shift into a life of crime. As whispers of his exploits spread, Billy feels the pull of a darker path. The choices he makes now will shape him into a figure of myth, but for now, he remains a boy caught in a whirlwind of survival, his journey just beginning. As Billy mingles with rustlers and drifters in the dusty streets of Lincoln, New Mexico, his boyish charm masks a growing hunger for recognition. The sun beats down on his freckled face, and his light brown hair flutters beneath a slouch hat, signaling a shift from innocence to ambition. Billy's quick reflexes soon make him a sought-after companion. He watches older men draw their guns with a mix of admiration and envy, absorbing their skills like a sponge. Each day brings new lessons in survival, as he learns to navigate the treacherous world of the frontier. One fateful night, a bar fight erupts, and Billy finds himself cornered. In a moment of instinct, he draws his Colt revolver, firing in self-defense. The gunshot echoes through the saloon, marking his first step into a life of violence and chaos. With the weight of his actions heavy on his shoulders, Billy flees into the night, adopting the name William H. Bonney. This transformation signifies more than a mere alias. It marks his commitment to the outlaw path he has unwittingly chosen. As weeks pass, the boy grows into a young man hardened by his choices. His once boyish features begin to show the strain of life on the run. The sunburn on his skin deepens and his clothing becomes more worn, reflecting his new reality. Billy's reputation spreads like wildfire. Stories of his quick draw and daring escapes reach the ears of both lawmen and outlaws. He becomes a figure of intrigue, a boy whose name is whispered in saloons and around campfires, both feared and admired. With each passing day, Billy's confidence swells. He engages in more reckless behavior, challenging older gunslingers and proving himself in duels. The once timid boy is now a young gun, eager to carve out his place in the lawless landscape. Yet with fame comes danger. Billy's impulsive nature leads him into precarious situations, and he finds himself constantly looking over his shoulder. The line between survival and lawlessness blurs, and he begins to understand the cost of his choices. As whispers of his exploits reach distant towns, Billy realizes he is becoming more than just a name. He is becoming a legend. The journey from boyhood to outlaw is complete, but the path ahead remains fraught with uncertainty and peril. In the heart of Lincoln County, Billy the Kid, now 17, finds a rare sense of belonging under the mentorship of rancher John Tunstall. Tunstall's kindness offers a brief respite from the harshness of frontier life, and Billy, with his boyish face and light brown hair, begins to see a future beyond survival. Tragedy strikes when Tunstall is brutally murdered by rival ranchers, igniting a firestorm of conflict. Billy, filled with rage and grief, vows to avenge his mentor. The loss transforms him from a boy into a determined young man, ready to fight for justice in a lawless land. Joining the Regulators, a group of vigilantes seeking retribution, Billy steps into a world of violence. The camaraderie among the men offers him a sense of purpose, but it also deepens his entanglement in the escalating chaos of the Lincoln County War. As the conflict escalates, shootouts erupt throughout Lincoln County. Billy's quick reflexes and sharpshooting skills earn him respect among the Regulators, but each gunfight pushes him further into the shadows of notoriety, transforming him from a boy into a feared outlaw. Ambushes and nighttime raids become the norm, as the line between right and wrong blurs. Billy, caught in the crossfire of loyalty and vengeance, struggles with the weight of his choices, questioning whether he is fighting for justice or merely perpetuating violence. The violence escalates, and the law becomes nearly meaningless. Billy, now a symbol of resistance to some and a menace to others, grapples with his identity. The boy who once sought kindness now finds himself entrenched in a brutal war that threatens to consume him. As the regulators clash with the opposing faction, the toll of the war becomes evident. Friends fall and loyalties shift, leaving Billy increasingly isolated. The weight of survival presses heavily on his slim shoulders, and the boyish charm begins to fade. With each confrontation, Billy's reputation grows, but so does the danger. The once charming youth is now seen as a ruthless outlaw, his youthful features hardened by the violence surrounding him. The myth of Billy the Kid begins to take shape amid the chaos. As the Lincoln County War rages on, Billy's journey becomes a relentless quest for vengeance and survival. The lines of loyalty blur, and the boy who sought acceptance now faces a future filled with uncertainty, his legend just beginning to unfold. As Billy the Kid's notoriety spread, newspapers across the nation began to paint him as a larger-than-life figure. His youthful features, light brown hair peeking from beneath a slouch hat, became synonymous with rebellion, capturing the imagination of many. Billy's charm and fluent Spanish endeared him to Hispanic communities, transforming him into a folk hero. His mischievous smile and high cheekbones became symbols of resilience against oppression, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos of the frontier. Despite his growing fame, Billy yearned for redemption. In letters to Governor Lew Wallace, he expressed a desire for a pardon, revealing a glimpse of the boy behind the outlaw, caught between his past and a longing for normalcy. However, attempts at legal cooperation faltered, leaving Billy feeling increasingly isolated. Betrayal from those he trusted pushed him deeper into the shadows, solidifying his status as a fugitive with nowhere left to turn. The courthouse breakout became a defining moment, elevating Billy from mere outlaw to a living legend. His audacious escape, filled with adrenaline and danger, solidified his place in the annals of American folklore. Each daring escape added to the mythos surrounding him, as the line between reality and fantasy blurred. Billy's boyish charm and quick reflexes made him a figure of fascination, yet the truth of his life remained obscured. As the legend grew, so did the bounty on his head. The $500 reward for his capture became a symbol of the law's desperation, reflecting the widening gap between the boy he was and the myth he was becoming. Caught in the throes of fame, Billy the Kid faced an uncertain future. The frontier was changing, and with it, the very essence of who he was. The next chapter of his life loomed ahead, fraught with peril. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the New Mexico desert, Sheriff Pat Garrett tightened his grip on the reins. Once a friend to Billy, he now pursued him with relentless determination, fueled by betrayal and duty. The vast, arid landscape echoed with the whispers of their shared past, but now it was a battleground where loyalty had turned to enmity. Billy, now a wiry young man of 18, with light brown hair tousled under his slouch hat, felt the weight of the world closing in. He darted through the brush, his heart racing as he evaded Garrett's men. The thrill of the chase ignited his youthful spirit, but each close call reminded him of the dwindling safety of his once familiar haunts. Garrett's strategy involved gathering information from locals, many of whom had once admired Billy. The sheriff's relentless pursuit transformed the townsfolk into reluctant informants, torn between their admiration for the young outlaw and the law's demands. Each tip-off brought Garrett closer, but it also deepened the rift between Billy and the community that had once embraced him. The chase intensified as Billy found refuge in the rugged terrain of the Lincoln County mountains. The jagged cliffs and narrow passes became his allies, allowing him to slip away from Garrett's grasp time and again. Yet the mountains also served as a reminder of his isolation. Friends were falling, and the bonds of loyalty were fraying under the weight of survival. As the days turned into weeks, the relentless pursuit took a toll on both men. Garrett, once a friend, now bore the burden of his mission, his face etched with fatigue and resolve. Meanwhile, Billy's boyish charm began to fade, replaced by the hardened expressions of a fugitive. The frontier was shrinking, and with it, the hope for escape. With each encounter, the stakes grew higher. Billy's instinct for survival clashed with the reality of betrayal. Friends turned informants, and safe havens became traps. The thrill of the chase shifted to a desperate game of cat and mouse, where every decision could lead to freedom or capture. Billy sensed the inevitability of his fate drawing closer. Garrett's men closed in, their numbers swelling as the sheriff's reputation grew. The desert became a theater of conflict, where the lines between right and wrong blurred. Billy, with his light blue eyes reflecting both defiance and fear, prepared for the final confrontation, knowing that the end of his youth was near, and the legend of Billy the Kid hung in the balance. As the hunt continued, both men were haunted by their pasts. Garrett, burdened by the weight of his choices, and Billy, grappling with the loss of his childhood. The chase was not just a physical pursuit, it was a clash of identities, where the boy became a myth and the friend became the hunter. The final act loomed on the horizon. In the dim light of a Fort Sumner room, Billy the Kid, just 21, stands with a youthful face still marked by freckles and a mischievous smile. His heart races as he senses the end is near, the air thick with tension. The shadows dance around him, whispering of the life he led and the legend he is about to become. Outside, the world remains unaware of the fate that awaits this notorious figure. Pat Garrett, once a friend and now a relentless foe, approaches silently. The weight of their shared history hangs heavy in the air. Billy's voice breaks the silence, asking, "Who's there?" The question echoes, a final plea for understanding in a world that has long since turned against him. In this moment, the boy who once laughed freely now stands on the precipice of his own myth. The gunshot shatters the stillness, a violent punctuation to a life lived on the edge. Billy falls, his body crumpling to the floor, the boyish features now forever frozen in a moment of shock. The room, once a sanctuary, transforms into a tomb, sealing away the dreams and aspirations of a young man who defied the law. Outside, the sun sets, casting long shadows over the land he roamed. News of Billy's death spreads like wildfire, igniting the imaginations of those who knew him and those who only heard tales. The legend begins to take shape, fueled by conflicting accounts and the whispers of survival. In the saloons and dusty streets, stories of his daring escapes and youthful bravado transform him into a symbol of rebellion, a hero to some and a villain to others. As songs and dime novels emerge, they weave a narrative that elevates Billy beyond the boy he was. He becomes a figure of myth, embodying the spirit of the Wild West, youthful, defiant, and untamed. Each retelling adds layers to his story, transforming his life into a tapestry of adventure and tragedy, a reflection of the lawlessness that defined the frontier. Years pass, yet the legend of Billy the Kid endures. His youthful image, with light brown hair and a crooked smile, becomes synonymous with the Wild West. The tales evolve, with each retelling shaping public perception, blurring the lines between the boy and the myth. His story resonates with those who seek freedom and adventure, a reminder of the untamed spirit of youth. Billy's legacy is one of contradictions, a life cut short, yet immortalized in the hearts of many. He represents the complexities of loyalty and betrayal, survival and violence. The boy who became an outlaw myth serves as a mirror to the turbulent times he lived in, capturing the essence of a nation grappling with its identity and the price of freedom. In the end, Billy the Kid transcends his own story, becoming a symbol of youth corrupted by violence and the relentless pursuit of freedom. His life and death resonate through history, a testament to the power of stories to outlive truth. As the sun sets on the frontier, the legend of Billy the Kid continues to ride into the hearts of those who dare to dream.